that these whites are coming to march again, they will announce a new date. I'm thinking, National Chair, we must organize a counter march and meet them halfway. We cannot allow white people to do as they wish in this country, like they are doing in Palestine. Let them announce the day they are coming back to Tshwane. Let us meet them toe to toe. Let us teach them who owns South Africa. We cannot be harassed in our own country during apartheid and be harassed in our own country during a democratic dispensation by a nonsense Afrikaner community. It must come to an end. Let us take them toe to toe. Let us show them who is in charge of this country. This is our land. This is our country. We will defend it with everything. If it means defending it with our lives, let us defend it with our lives. Let us see when the poor come back, which side will the police take? Police must take side. We are not fighting anyone. We are going to liberate our highways, our freeways from racist whites because government has failed. When government fails to protect us, we must protect ourselves. This regime has failed. Let us protect ourselves against this racism. Fellow fighters, bring anything that will defend this land on that day. Let's bring anything that will defend this land on that day. This is our land. We must not be pushed to a limit by these Afrikaners because they take advantage of our tolerance. They think our kindness is stupidity. Why sing this then? Why bring apartheid flag here? Can you imagine what the Jews will say? Can you imagine what Israel will say if we're to come here and do Hitler salute in front of this embassy? They will not be happy. But they tell us to tolerate what reminds us of our difficult past. The ANC is useless. And for those who don't see that the ANC is useless, really, you need a mental checkup.
Welcome to those who are joining us for the first time, those that are joining us for the second time. Welcome to this program. It's literally a program about what's actually going on in South Africa. Yes, last week, beginning of last week, we considered a stand with the farmers in South Africa. It was called Black Monday. However, what actually happened after that and the consequences of this Black Monday march, and it wasn't really a march, it was just a bunch of Afrikaners, a bunch of farmers that got together and they prayed for their country. They prayed for the country and they just said they had enough of all the genocide that was going on. You see, at the moment, according to Genocide Watch, and you can go and have a look at this on genocidewatch.com, South Africa is now at stage 6 of 8 in the genocide scale. This website and community is devoted to bringing this issue to light and obviously documenting the signs of genocide. So if you go onto genocidewatch.com, go and have a look. It's literally the South African Genocide Watch is now number 6 of that. Not only are farmers being tortured and murdered at a spectacular rate in South Africa, but they're also living in fear of losing their farmland, producing food for the entire continent of Africa. Once this is gone, then we will literally have another Zimbabwe and yet another starvation of the masses in Africa. Now, of course, the rest of the world, they don't care. You know, nobody really cares what's going on in South Africa. And yet the rest of the world helped cause this issue. And I put this right at the foot of the rest of the world. Again, this shows clearly that the government does not care about their own people that voted for them. They will let them starve in order to accelerate the implementation of complete dictatorship. However, this I slightly disagree with. I believe that the people in South Africa, especially the ones that voted the ANC in, they wanting land and they don't want to pay for the land. They want what the Afrikaner has, they want what the Boer has, and they don't care how they get it. They literally just want this land so that they can, they can have land. Okay. Right now in Zimbabwe, all land that was seized from white people are now owned by the Chinese, and the rest are in disarray and no longer producing anything. Also, Malema did his work when he was running for election and found that only 2% of the white population, minority less than 10% of the entire population, still owns land. So 2% of the less than 10% that still owns agricultural land. Tell me again how this is not an agenda to simply get rid of certain people and use the land as an excuse. Point is, they will never be happy no matter how much they get. The mindset is that you owe me. That's the mindset in South Africa, you owe me. Apartheid is gone. There is no longer an apartheid system in place. The land that is owned, the farmland that is owned, is literally bought land. Okay? Racism is something that is a made-up word. The word itself is made up. It's a communist word. There's one race. There's different colours of this one race. Now, obviously, according to liberal South Africa, or the liberal part of South Africa, racist can only be a white person. However, that is wrong. The word racist must incorporate every single thing, including white and black. So basically now Mugabe is asking white farmers back. I don't think so. I don't agree with that statement either. There is a rumor going on the internet that Mugabe is asking white farmers to go back to the land. No, I believe that Mugabe would rather starve his people than bring white farmers back. It is very much a case of colour. I think that racism is wrong in all forms, whether it's white against black or black against white. Racism is wrong. The word is wrong. It's wrong to oppress a person. Mandela once said that if the ANC do to the country what the white government did, what apartheid did to the country, then people need to vote the ANC out. But what do you do when you vote in the ANC out for a party that's even worse than the ANC, which is the EFF? Let's see what the South African Constitution is all about. The South African Constitution says this. Now, in this channel, I would like to bring in, and I'm going to show you exactly what happens. Firstly, we're going to speak about the Constitution, what the Constitution is about, how do we as people fit in there, black, white, Indian, and the coloured group of people which is provisionally in Cape Town. Okay. The South African of South Africa is one sovereign, democratic state founded on the following values. Okay, this is how it was founded. And this is the one that has been preached from their pulpits in the ANC. Human dignity, the achievement of equality, and the advancement of human rights and freedom. I am sorry, BEE, affirmative action, and especially anything that oppresses a minority, is not equality. South Africa is not a country of equal opportunity. South Africa is a country of where the majority is oppressing the minority and are getting them out of the workforce completely. So there is no such thing as equality. This is a false statement. The Constitution says that we are supposed to have the same rights and freedoms as everybody else, but there is no same. Okay? No non-racialism and non-sexism. So that basically means that you can't discriminate based on race or sex. South Africa discriminates against race and sex. So South Africa is already, just on those two statements, South Africa has already become a criminal state. Supremacy of the Constitution and the rule of law. The Constitution shall be above any hatred, any opinion, or anything like that, and the rule of law shall govern the country, not someone's opinion. And especially not a government or something that the ANC try and promote as their agenda. No agenda shall go above the rule of law. Okay. Universal adult suffrage, a national common voters' roll, regular elections, and a multi-party system of democratic government to ensure accountability, responsiveness, and openness. The ANC government of today are not open. They are not responsible. The Constitution is the supreme law of the Republic. Law or conduct inconsistent with it is valid, and obligations imposed by it must be fulfilled. Citizenship. There is a common South African citizenship. All citizens are equally entitled to the rights, privilege, and benefits of citizenship, and equally subject to the duties and responsibilities of citizenship. National legislation must provide for the acquisition, loss, and restoration of citizenship. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care where you're affiliated. But this is what South Africa says about citizenship. It is not based on color, creed, or anything like that. And everything else that the EFF or the ANC are trying to say and do to you, it is illegal. This is a corrupt system. They are illegally trying to take land that they are not allowed to because they wrote the Constitution. National anthem. The national anthem of the Republic is determined by the President by proclamation. National flag. The national flag of the Republic is gold, green, white, red and blue as described and sketched in Schedule 1. Languages. The official languages of the Republic are Sepedi, Sesotho, Setswana, Siswati, Sivenda, Tsonga, Afrikaans, English, isiNdebele, isiXhosa, and isiZulu. Okay? Recognizing, so this is now part of the Constitution. Afrikaans is part of the languages that is recognized in the Constitution. So to wipe out a language because you just don't like the people is illegal. Okay? Let's carry on. Recognizing the historically diminished use and status of indigenous languages of our people, the state must take practical and positive measures to elevate the status and advance of the use of these languages. The national government and provincial government may use any particular official language for the purpose of government, taking into account usage, practicality, expense, regional circumstances, and the balance of the needs and the preference of the population as a whole or in the province concerned, but the national government and each provincial government must use at least 2 official languages. So depending on where you are in the country, the second language is based on the group of people that is prominent there. Okay, now listen to this. And I'm sorry, not one thing so far that I'm busy reading is being adhered to by the government, as you can see in videos.
The South African president has called for an acceleration of land redistribution between white and black farmers in the country. He added that, if necessary, this may include expropriation without compensation. Local farmers who we spoke to say it's a dangerous approach.
That's what we're going to do. That's what we're planning, to go take the land.
I'm worried about and I'm very scared.
Expropriation of ground without payment, I was very worried. The land is there to feed the people.
They just need the land to stay on, and they will not produce any food for this country.
I won't feel comfortable with the land taken by force from somebody else, because it will deprive that person all the inputs he has put into that land. They've worked so hard to be the breadbasket of the country. You cannot remove the people who are supplying with food for the entire nation.
I think he's playing a politic game. He wants the farms to get votes because the ANC is now losing votes.
The Bill of Rights. What is your rights in South Africa? The Bill of Rights is the cornerstone of democracy in South Africa. It enshrines the rights of all people in our country and affirms the democratic values of human dignity, equality and freedom. The state must respect, protect, promote and fulfill the rights in the Bill of Rights. If it's not doing that, it is not fulfilling what it's supposed to be fulfilling. That makes it an illegal government. The state must respect, protect, promote and fulfill the rights in the Bill of Rights. The rights in the Bill of Rights are subject to the limitation contained or referred to in section 36 or elsewhere in the bill. Application, the Bill of Rights applies to all law and binds the legislature, the executive, the judiciary and all organs of faith. A provision of the Bill of Rights binds a natural or a juristic person if and to the extent that it is applicable, taking into account the nature of the right and the nature of any duty imposed by that right. When applying a provision of the Bill of Rights to a natural or a juristic person in terms of subsection 2, a court, in order to give an effect to a right in the bill, must apply or if necessary develop the common law to the extent that the legislation does not give effect to that right and may develop rules of common law to limit the right, provided that the limitation is in accordance with subsection 36. A juristic person is entitled to the rights in the Bill of Rights to the extent required by the nature of the rights and the nature of that juristic person. Equality. Everyone is equal before the law and has the right to equal protection and the benefit of the law. Equality includes the full and equal enjoyment of all rights and all freedoms and obviously note the achievement of equality, legislative and other measures designed to protect advanced persons or categories of persons disadvantaged by unfair discrimination may be taken. The state may not unfairly discriminate directly or indirectly against anyone on one or more grounds including race, gender, sex, pregnancy, marital status, ethnic or social origin, color, sexual orientation, age, disability, religion, conscience, belief, culture, language and birth. No person may unfairly discriminate directly or indirectly against anyone on one or more grounds. In terms of subsection 3, national legislation must be enacted to prevent or prohibit unfair discrimination. Discrimination on one or more grounds listed in the subsection is unfair unless it is established that the discrimination is fair. Human dignity. Everyone has inherent dignity and the right to have their dignity respected and protected. Life. Everyone has the right to life. Freedom and security of the person. So anyone that, before we carry on, Everybody has the right to life. Anybody in any political point that tries to threaten, or they claim that this is what's going to happen to you if they get into power, that is illegal. They are not allowed legally to do that. That already means that they're standing illegally on the law. Therefore, you are allowed as a South African to proceed with legal criminal charges based on this law. It's criminal if they threaten your life from a political point of view. Freedom and security of the persons. Everybody has the right to freedom and security. If the government's not looking after your security, the government is a criminal government. They are not legal. They have to look after your security, which includes the right not to be deprived of freedom, arbitrary or without just cause, not to be detained without a trial, to be free, listen to this, from all forms of violence from either public or private sources, not to be tortured in any way, and not to be treated or punished in a cruel, inhuman or degrading way. That includes from a political party. If a political party is threatening you, if a political party tries to say this and that about you, that political party needs to be taken to court. That political party should be taken to court because this is what the Constitution says about you and your right of life. Everyone has the right to bodily and psychological integrity, which includes the right to make decisions concerning reproduction, to security in and control over their body, and not to be subjected to medical or scientific experimentation without their informed consent. Slavery, servitude, and forced labor. No one may be subjected to slavery, servitude, or forced labor. Privacy. Everyone has the right to privacy, which includes the right not to have their person or home searched, their property searched, their possessions seized, or the privacy of their communication infringed. Freedom of religion, belief and opinion. Everyone has the right to freedom of conscience, religion, thought, belief, and you are allowed your opinion. No matter how hateful that opinion is, you're allowed to have the opinion. However, I'm allowed to have the opinion that you're a moron if you have a hateful opinion. But we are both allowed our opinions. No country, well, this is it, the Constitution prohibits anybody standing against your opinion. You're allowed an opinion. Okay? Yeah. Freedom and religious belief and opinion, and everyone has their opinion. Religious observance may be conducted at state and state-aided institutions, provided that those observations follow rules made by the appropriate public authorities. They are conducted on equitable basis, and attendance of them is free and voluntary. This section does not prevent legislation recognizing marriages concluded under any tradition, or a system of religious, personal or family law, or system of personal and family law under any traditions, or adhered to by persons professing a particular religion. Recognition in terms of paragraphs must be consistent with this and to other provisions of the Constitutions. Freedom of expression. We're allowed to express ourselves. Everyone has the right to freedom of expression, which includes freedom of the press and other media. If anyone tries to stop this, in the Constitution it says that it's a criminal offence to try and stop the media or freedom of expression. Okay? Freedom to receive or impart information or ideas, freedom of artistic creativity and academic freedom, and freedom of scientific research. The right in subsection 1 does not extend to propaganda for war, incitement or imminent violence or advocacy of hatred based on race, ethnicity, gender, religion, all that constitutes incitement to cause harm. If anybody is not adhering to this, that is a criminal offence. If they're inciting any form of harm against any race in the country, that is wrong. It's a criminal offence. It's a human rights violation according to this Constitution, the Constitution of South Africa. Assembly, demonstrations, pickets and petition, everybody, now listen to this, everyone has the right to peacefully and unarmed to assemble, to demonstrate, to picket and to present petitions. That Monday, the Black Monday, was a legal event protected by the Constitution. So people get to know your Constitution, learn the Constitution, because that Constitution should have put Zuma and Malema in prison already. These are hard-hitting words, but it's the truth. Freedom of association. Everyone has the right to freedom of association. Political rights. Every citizen is free to make political choices, which includes the right to form a political party, to participate in activities or recruiting members for a political party, and to campaign for a political party or a cause. Every citizen has the right to free, fair and regular elections for any legislative body established in the terms of the Constitution. Every adult citizen has the right to vote in elections for any legislative body established in the terms of the Constitution, and to do so in secret, and to stand for public office, and if elected, to hold office. Every citizen has the right to a passport. If they try and stop you from that right, that is a criminal offence. So anyone that tries to stop you, because it's part of the Constitution, the only time that I would say, and then, well, basically here it'll tell you, right to a passport. Well, actually, that's it. It just says every citizen has the right to a passport. Freedom of trade, occupation and profession. Every citizen has the right to choose their trade, occupation or profession freely. The practice of a trade, occupation or profession may be regulated by law. Labour retentions. Everyone has the right to fair labour practice. Every worker has the right to form and join a trade union, to participate in the activities and program of a trade union, and to strike. Every employer has the right to form and join an employer's organisation and participate in the activities and program of an employer's organisation. Every trade union and every employer's organisation has the right to determine its own administration programs and activity, to organise and to form and join a federation. Every trade union, employer's organisation and employer has the rights to engage in collective bargaining. National legislation may be enacted to regulate collective bargaining to the extent that the legislation may limit a right in this chapter. The limitations must comply with section 36(1). National legislation may recognise union security arrangement contained in legislative Okay, the environment. Everyone has the right to an environment that is not harmful to their health or well-being, and to have the environment protected for the benefit of present and future generations through reasonable legislation and other measures that prevent pollution and ecological degradation, promote conservation, secure ecological sustainable development of use of natural resources while promoting justifiable economic social development. Now this is something that's very important. Now listen to this. Property. No one may be deprived of property except in terms of law of general applications, and no law may permit arbitrary deprivation of property. Property may be expropriated only in terms of law of general application for a public purpose or in a public interest, and subject to compensation, the amount of which and the time and manner of payment of which have either been agreed on to by those affected or decided and approved by a court. The amount of the compensation and the time and manner of payment must be just and equitable, reflecting an equitable balance between the public interest and the interest of those affected, having regard of all relevant circumstances, including the current use of property, the history of the acquisition and use of the property, the market value of the property, the extent of dire state investment and subsidy in the acquisition and beneficial capital improvement of the property, and the purpose of the expropriation. The purpose of this section, the public interests include the nation's commitment to land reform and the reforms to bring about equitable access to all South Africans' natural resources, and property is not limited to land. The state must take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to foster conditions which enable citizens to gain access to land on an equitable basis. A person, community whose tenure of the land is legally insecure as a result of past racial discriminatory laws or practices is entitled to the extent provided by the Act of Parliament either to tenure which is legally secure or to comparable redress. A person or community disposed of property after 19 June 1913 and as a result of past racially discriminatory laws or practices is entitled to the extent provided by an Act of Parliament either to restitution of that property or to equitable redress. So basically, the government's got to pay you for your land. If they decide that racially that the land belongs to somebody else, they've got to buy the land from you, and then obviously they can do their redistribution or what have you. However, this is unclear in this, but that's what it says to me. That the government's still got to pay you for your land. They've got to give you something for what you do. They can't just take it away and leave you with nothing. No provision of this section may impede the state from taking legislative and other measures to achieve land, water and related reform to order to redress the results of past racial discrimination, provided that any departure from the provisions of this section is in accordance with the provisions of Section 36. Housing. Everybody has the right to have access to adequate housing. I'm not even going to carry on there. Healthcare, social security, everyone has the right to have access to all of the stuff. So please read the Constitution. I'm literally stopping there. There is so many more rights that you actually do have. The government cannot just come in and take. I know that the EFF are threatening and all of this, but the government cannot just come in and take. I am not doing a formal news today because at the end of the day, this is a bit long. It's about the Constitution and it's about your health. South Africa, you have the right to bear arms. South Africa, you have the right to defend your family and to defend yourself. Past discrimination cannot be applied today. Apartheid is gone. It's been gone for almost 20 years, 25 years almost. The apartheid government lasted 40 years. You cannot have reverse apartheid, because that is just as wrong as apartheid was, if you're going to say apartheid. Reverse discrimination is discrimination. When you oppress one nation, whether you're black, white, pink, purple, oppressing another nation is wrong. Now, as South Africans, we are considered to be South Africans. When you travel the world, they don't go, oh, you're a black South African, or you're a white South African, or you're an Indian South African. No, the rest of the world sees you as a South African. We're South Africans first, colour later. Hatred is not just a white man job, it's everywhere. Everybody has it. Know the Constitution. The Constitution does not just protect the majority, it protects the minority. Stay safe. We need a safe country, and we need people to stand up. And just before we carry on, I need to just read a little bit of news, just something that took me, it literally affected me a little bit. So just bear with me, I'm going to just read it now. Just bear with me for a second. I want to read this. This is basically what's actually happening. Okay. 31st of October, farm murder, Fockville. Farmer Billy Barnett was shot dead on his farm Tuesday, 31st of October. Farm murder, Vicksburg. Barry Bass was found murdered on Tuesday morning at his farm between Vicksburg and Rosendale. 30th, farm murder, Vryheid, Gelukstad. Bokkie Potgieter was murdered on his farm in Gelukstad, Vryheid. Kill the farmer, kill the boer. The night was black, the moon was dark, when I heard dogs begin to bark. Alone here on this farm, a family farm, out somewhere sounded an alarm. Oh, how we love this land, the soil, yet while we work hard and we toil, large bands of killers roam each night to kill us just because we're white. I, trusting God, began to pray, Lord, please save us again today from those who come to kill us at night. Protect us from this dreadful plight. But hardly had those words been said that hearts began to fill with dread. Our home assaulted and attacked, its doors would splinter on impact. Their breaking through came at a price. They charged, screaming, kick and slice like wolf packs feeding off raw power. They came to destroy, to devour. Their weapons pointed at our faces, and thus covered all their bases. My wife gave one blood-curdling cry. I knew then we were going to die. I grabbed my gun to fend them off. What can you do, old man, they scoffed. My wife would plead at my behest, yet still they shot me in the chest. I fell to my knees. I felt my knees give way. I fell. These devils came direct from hell. They kicked me with such violent hate. I knew then help would come too late. Far off I heard my wife still shout before I started blacking out. My eyes grew dim, my tears would roll for us who'd pay such a heavy toll. They grabbed her, but still she would fight. They dragged her off out of my sight. I heard her shout and beg and plead. Imagine every dastardly deed. A good wife who had always cared was shamed and tortured, nothing spared. Oh Lord, did we deserve this end? Impossible to comprehend. The devil danced and laughed and joked, while she died slowly, being choked. Was killed just like a vile cockroach. My last thought, one of deep reproach. I could not save her from such shame, from being killed like in a game. I cried for help for my lovely bride, for our lives lost as thus we died. I wondered about our children's fate, our people suffering from such hate. Beloved land, you've lost your soul, being transformed into this hellhole. Black Monday and burning issues of news, you know, When the farmers went and they prayed and they stood together, what happened? They were busy, they were downtrodden, they were oppressed once more. The world turned a blind eye as these farmers cried for help. Will you stand with us? Will you stand with me? Standing with these farmers. Anyone that wants to support, anyone that feels they can support, I need your support. We need to start looking at ways to help. So, please, those that can and those that want to, message me. Let me know that you're willing to help. I don't do this for any financial gain. I don't do this because I'm interested in anything like that. I do what I'm doing because I need a support as well. So I'm asking you for your support. Whatever you can do, let me know that you at least wanting to support. That you at least stand with the farmer in South Africa. That he's on your mind. And for those of you that want to subscribe to my channel, I said last week that it was on the left, that my subscribe button is there, but no, it's actually on the right. My subscribe button is there, and obviously I'm going to be posting and sticking subscribe buttons everywhere throughout my videos. So wherever you see a subscribe button, please press the subscribe button on the left, on the right hand side. It's a little small button here that will send you to the link to subscribe. Please subscribe. Okay, thank you so much for your time. And my prayer goes out to the farmers in South Africa who desperately need the world to wake up and to watch. You know, I wanted to interview a couple of farmers, but I haven't had the chance or the opportunity to actually interview them. I will. Hopefully, as the show goes on, we will be able to focus more on the people in South Africa and let them give their stories. Because that's the idea of this program, is to give stories, is to bring out truth from what's coming out in South Africa. So yes, I am trying to convince people to give me interviews. And if you're willing to give an interview, if you're wanting to give an interview, let me know and I will interview you. That's one of my desires, is to get people on the farms, to get people that have been affected by this rubbish to speak out and let the world hear what's going on, and that it is illegal of what's going on, what these guys are saying and what they're doing. Racism is wrong. It's not right. One nation oppressing another nation is not correct. Now I do this specifically as a favour for a group that I'm belonging to. Okay? So enjoy the program. I know it's depressing this week. It is a depressing program, but I'm hoping that there is hope, that we show our solidarity to the South African farmer. So let's give them hope. And all of those that are wanting to help in some way, get hold of me, please. I'm not ashamed to ask for things, because it's for a good cause. I don't make any profit from anything. Okay? So please. And enjoy